Hello and welcome to Right Sports Talk. My name is Zach, and the first about 7 hours or so of the NFL negotiation period for free agency has gone by. There's been a lot of transactions and roster moves. I just wanted to talk a little bit about those, kind of get my reaction from what each team has done so far, and talk a little bit about not only the stuff that's happened today, but the few transactions that happened yesterday afternoon after I uploaded my video yesterday talking about roster moves that had happened. So to kick it off, just kind of been putting things down like in orders when teams were doing stuff. So to kick it off, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers yesterday, they re-signed Baker Mayfield, and today they re-signed defensive tackle Greg Gaines, and just a little while ago traded corner Carlton Davis to the Lions for a third-round draft pick. So the Indianapolis Colts re-signed Michael Pittman to a 3-year deal. They re-signed defensive tackle Grover Stewart and defensive end Daquan Lewis. So these three re-signings kind of show me that the Colts look like they have, players that they want to keep on their team. They think they have looks like they might think they have a good roster to, build around. Because, one of the big things is free agency. It's not just, bringing guys into your team, but it's keeping the guys that you really want on your team. On the New England Patriots, they released wide receiver Devontae Parker. They also re-signed wide receiver Kendrick Bourne. They traded quarterback Mac Jones to the Jacksonville Jaguars yesterday for a 6th-round draft pick. And thus far, they have signed running back Antonio Gibson. I'm going to go more in depth at the end, or closer to the end of the offseason, closer to the beginning of when the season starts, for all the moves the New England Patriots made, because I'm a Patriots fan, so I'll go more in depth for their roster moves, give more of my thoughts closer to the season. Moving on, the Carolina Panthers yesterday released center Bradley Bozeman. Today they released safety Von Bell. They also signed guard Robert Hunt to kind of help that offensive line. And they traded outside linebacker Brian Burns to the Giants for a 2nd and a 5th-round pick. This is huge for the Giants, not so much Carolina, but it gives the Giants another person to put on the other side of Kayvon Thibodeaux to help rush the passer. On the Bears, yesterday signed Kevin Byard. Today they signed running back DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift spent 1 year with the Eagles last year, went into free agency. He's now signed with the Bears. The Pittsburgh Steelers last night signed quarterback Russell Wilson to a 1-year deal. And they signed punter Cameron Johnson. Actually, I'm getting some breaking news coming through right now that Austin Ekeler plans to sign with the Washington Commanders. So I will just go straight to what I want to talk about the Commanders. They are apparently going to sign Austin Ekeler to a 2-year deal, and they've also signed center Tyler Biadasz, defensive lineman Durant Armstrong, both of those players coming over from the Cowboys, where the Commanders head coach Dan Quinn was previously the defensive coordinator of. And they also signed linebacker Frankie Louvu. So, pretty good signings for them. And, breaking news as I'm recording the video, they signed Austin Ekeler. So moving on, the Jaguars talked about how they traded for Mac Jones. They also signed center Mitch Morse and wide receiver Gabe Davis, safety Darnell Savage, and they also signed wide receiver Devin Duvernay. Duvernay was a all-pro special teams player. That's probably the role they signed him for. But the Jaguars look to be going heavy in free agency. And with the signing of Gabe Davis, it kind of leaves whether or not they'll bring back Calvin Ridley. It leaves that a little bit up in the air for what they can do with him. Beyond, the Tennessee Titans signed Tony Pollard. That was a little bit of a surprise to me. So they're bringing in Tony Pollard from the Dallas Cowboys to pair him with Tajay Spears. So looks like they're not going to bring back Derrick Henry, which was expected. My only question now is who's going to be their short yardage bruiser back, because I don't think Tajay or Pollard really fit that type of running style. They also signed center Lloyd Cushenberry to address some much needed offensive line help, and they signed cornerback Chidobe Awuzie. The Green Bay Packers signed running back Josh Jacobs and safety Xavier McKinney. McKinney fills a much needed role for them at the safety position. That's been the weakest point on their defense for a few years now. Then they released offensive tackle David Bakhtiari and running back Aaron Jones. The Aaron Jones release came about an hour or so after the Josh Jacobs signing. So it went from thinking, oh man, they're going to have one of the best, maybe the best running back tandem in the NFL, to, oh no, they got rid of Aaron Jones and just have Josh Jacobs. And they're also, doesn't look they're going to bring back A.J. Dillon. They're going to let him walk in free agency. So it looks like they're just going to have one feature back of Josh Jacobs. Moving on, the Vikings signed pass rusher Jonathan Grenard, linebacker Andrew Van Ginkel, and linebacker Blake Cashman. So going big defense so far. The Broncos have signed safety Brandon Jones. The Raiders made one very big signing, and one good signing. They signed defensive lineman Christian Wilkins, which is huge. It's a defensive tackle you can place next to Max Crosby on that defensive line, and he's going to take some attention off of Max Crosby. So Max Crosby's production should actually go up now that he's got a very good defensive tackle playing beside him. And they also signed quarterback Gardner Minshew. So that leaves up in the air if they were rumored to maybe go after Justin Fields. That may or may not be the case anymore. I know they brought in Gardner Minshew, but you never know. The Rams have signed guard Jonah Jackson and tight end Colby Parkinson. Parkinson probably be, fill the Tyler Higbee position until they can figure out how his knee is. He did suffer a knee injury in their playoff game against the Lions back in January. So this signing will, give them a good tight end until they can figure out where Higbee is with his knee injury. And they help shore up that offensive line, allowing their so they re-signed one of their guards the other day. They're bringing in Jonah Jackson, trying to shore up that guard position on the offensive line. Talked about the Commanders. The Eagles had a pretty good day. They signed running back Saquon Barkley. So Saquon leaves the Giants, but he stays within the NFC East and goes to the Philadelphia Eagles. And they also signed defensive end Bryce Huff from the Giants to, again, help their defensive line, because they've been fielding trade calls for Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick. So, Bryce Huff could be potentially somebody that they could easily plug in if they wind up trading either Sweat or Reddick. The Falcons made a pretty big signing. They signed Kirk Cousins to a big deal. Kirk Cousins was the best available quarterback. Everybody was kind of waiting for the Kirk Cousins domino to fall to see what would happen with the rest of the quarterback market. That domino has now fallen, and the rest of the quarterback market is slowly starting to work itself out. The Cardinals signed cornerback Sean Murphy-Bunting, defensive tackle Justin Jones, and linebacker Mac Wilson. The Giants, in addition to trading for Brian Burns, they signed offensive lineman John Runyon. Some very good offensive linemen, which is something the Giants need. They have needed offensive line help for a while, and this will help shore up that O-line. And they signed Devin Singletary, running back who played for Houston last year. He's a good running back. He's definitely not a Saquon Barkley replacement in any way or by any means, but he's a very talented running back that can be a consistent starter in the league. The Houston Texans, signed cornerback Jeff Okudah, defensive lineman Danico Audrey, and defensive back Mike Ford. So they're another team that looks like so far they've just wanted to focus on defense. The Chargers just lost, Austin Eckler did not resign with. They signed running back Gus Edwards and tight end Will Disley. I think Gus Edwards is a great signing for what Jim Harbaugh wants to do, because Jim Harbaugh loves to just run the ball, and I'm sure that when they get in goal line situations, that Gus Edwards is going to be the go-to running back and going to be their goal line short yardage back. The Bengals have signed defensive back Geno Stone. The Seahawks yesterday released linebacker slash fullback Ballore. Didn't put his first name down. The 49ers have signed defensive end Leonard Floyd. The Dolphins have signed linebacker Anthony Walker. The Browns have re-signed both edge rushers Darius Smith and defensive tackle Maurice Hurst, keeping that defensive line short up. The Bills re-signed AJ Epinesa, good young player to keep on the defensive line. And the Lions, in addition to trading for Carlton Davis, they signed edge rusher Marcus Davenport. Probably somebody they can put on the opposite side of Aiden Hutchinson and can get after the quarterback. Well, that's all I've got so far for the first 7-ish hours of free agency negotiation periods. I'll try to keep up with what's going on. I'm probably not going to be able to come out with videos every single day. It'll probably be, if anything, maybe Saturday by the soonest when I can get my next video out. But I will be keeping up to date and keeping mark as to notable players and notable roster moves that happen. Please let me know in the comments. Somebody available still you want your team to sign, or somebody your team brought in that you're really excited for, please let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Until next time.